Welcome to this live reading session with me, Hannah. So I'm gonna wait and see who joins. Right, let me have a look here actually. Boom, 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 boom. Excuse me. So yes, we're here for some live readings. And I do have someone who booked in, but I'm going to be doing that live reading. Well, it's not really live, but it's going to be offline. And then send that through later, very soon. Okay. It's this way. Yeah, it's this way. Oh, it's not that way. It's this way. But yeah, just sort of jumping on, seeing who is interested in booking a live reading. Let's see. Let's go here. Also, feel free, obviously, to say hello in the chat. It's always good to have fun conversations with others. But yeah, we're on, what time is it now? 5:30 GMT. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's see if anybody is interested in a live reading today. Okay, I think we're sorted there. All good, all good. Do that. That should be sorted. It's cleared. Okay, cool. But yeah, so what am I focusing on in these readings? It really depends on if you have a question or if you have an area you would like me to focus on. It's completely up to you. So the way it works is you just go to the booking link, and then the readings are mini readings, about 10 minutes or something like that, about that. And then I ask you if you do have a question, and we will obviously base the reading on the question that you have. All right. Yeah. And thank you very much for even asking a question and for tuning in, Marianne. Yeah. Hello to Ladyface Karen. Well, Karen, hi to you. Welcome. I hope that you are having a nice week ahead anyway. I know that it is the new moon in Pisces at some point today / tomorrow, really depending on where you are in the world. And the new moon in Pisces is interesting, I think, because it's going to break this pattern that we've been experiencing for 6 months or something like that, about half a year. So what happened was Virgo season came, right? And Virgo season, we saw a 0-degree new moon in Virgo at the very beginning. And then at the very end of the season, we had the solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees. And then what followed from that was this pattern, this sequence of 28-degree new moons for the past 6 months. So yeah, the Pisces new moon is going to break that pattern. And to answer your question, Karen, would I say that I'm intuitive? Yeah, I would say that I would be quite intuitive with my approach. But at the same time, and also to answer your question about using cards and things like that, I can use cards if you want me to use cards, but I don't typically do that. And to further explain here, that I try to make my readings then tactical, strategic. Yes. So I focus on, you see, okay, sorry. I hear ya. Did you think it was more sort of like tarot readings? Okay. No problem. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, these are astrology readings indeed. And hello to triple 178. Hi to you. I like your image. I like your hair. It's a nice color. But yeah, what I was saying there, let me see. Marianne, you say that you are an astrologer as well. Cool, nice. And you've been watching the channel for years. Cool. Thank you very much. You love my perspective. Amazing. Very kind of you to say that. You are US based, and intuitively, you want me to intuitively choose. Ooh, okay. No problem. Well, you say you're going to book now, so very good. Looking forward to that coming through. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And of course, thank you very much for watching and tuning in. And you have been diving into astrology. That's great to hear, Karen. How long have you been doing that for? You're very welcome. 11178. Also, just to let you know that there is a sale on, by the way, because we are coming into the astrological new year. Yeah, there is a sale going on my website, hannahselsewhere.com. If you use the code NEWYEAR15, you will receive 15% off any of my services, of course, minus the quick sync. Quick sync is basically returning client readings. There's already a discount on those. So, yeah, excuse me, but that's basically what's going on there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I was meaning to say. Intuitively, though, indeed, I would say that I do try to navigate readings based on, of course, the cycles, patterns, aspects, what I see, the connections. But then I also try to follow my gut, to follow where I feel like I'm being guided, particularly based on the questions that I'm asked. And I guess what makes this reading for you, Marianne, whenever you do eventually book, it's going to be interesting because you are wanting me to be quite active about using my intuition. So we'll see how that goes. Karen, you say about a year. Your chart is fun. Ooh, you're okay. You're going to check it out. Nice. It's interesting that you're saying that your chart's fun. I wonder what you have going on to say it's fun. Ooh. But anyway, we are approaching the astrological new year. It's very close. It's happening on the 20th, I believe, this year, the 20th. So we're coming up to Friday, and what's going to happen is Mercury's going to turn direct. Mercury will turn direct, and then the astrological new year will happen. And yeah, like I was saying, this cycle of these 28-degree new moons is going to break because the new moon in Aries from Aries season that will happen during Aries season, that will take place at 27 degrees. Still pretty much at the end of the sign, but still not 28, right? And then from there, when we get into Taurus season, yeah, I don't think the new moons are going to be as late in the zodiac by degree. We even have Mercury retrograde conjunct the North Node right now in Pisces. And I have been sort of feeling into this, just this feeling of what am I ready to shed? What am I ready to really let go of? And I do feel like I'm ready to let go of a lot of emotional baggage, you know? But anyways, we have, yes, Marianne, amazing. Thank you so much for booking, Marianne. I am going to pull up your info. Whilst I do that, I do tend to be a bit quieter just because I'm trying to focus. So I'm not being rude. I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm just trying to go through my process. And naturally, I do want to say thank you very much for booking, for being here. Let's have a look. Okay. Go here. Here. Oh, actually, I would need that. Yep. It's very interesting as well. A lot of the intuitive words, I suppose, especially because the moon is in Pisces and we're coming toward the very end of Pisces season. We have a massive stellium in Pisces, basically. A very intuitive sign indeed. Let's see. Yep. And then go here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Save. I am just retrieving your chart, Marianne. Come on. Load, please. Go. Save. All right. So you want me to be more intuitive about this process. Alrighty. Let's load. Hello to XI. Welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining. And also, just give me a moment. I want to say to Lauren. Lauren, thank you so much for booking. I am going to just take note here so that people know in which order. Amazing. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we have. Okay, awesome. So we have Marianne. So you're first. Then we have Preeti. Is it Preeti? If a Preeti is there at all, we have Preeti who's booked in. Then we have Lauren. Thank you so much, Lauren, for booking. So that's the order. And hello. Hi, TJ. Welcome back. Hi. I hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. And let me see here. If Preeti, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If Preeti is in the audience, there you are. Amazing. Thank you. Is it, how do you pronounce, is it Preethis? Is that how you pronounce your name? Preethis? I just hope I'm saying it all correctly. And then Marianne, yours is you're open for transits, arcs, progressions, whatever I feel into. No problem. Sorry, I'm just itching my eye because it's kind of itchy. Kind of gross, but anyway. Yeah. So Marianne, Preethis, and Lauren. Preeti. Oh, Preeti. Ah, yeah, it's Preeti. Preeti. Okay. That is the order. Okay. So just to let you know, and if anybody else books, I will obviously mention your name and just let you know that you're in the queue. So, Marianne, give me a moment so I can just get everything kind of ready. All right. Just to let you know as well, whenever I do read the chart, I tend to not look at the chat just because the chat sometimes can be distracting. So it's not that I'm ignoring anybody. It's just that that's a part of my process. We have somebody else who's booked. Okay, I need to keep my eye on this because I don't want to overbook. Okay. I could probably take maybe one or two more people. Okay. So we have also, thank you for your patience, everybody, by the way, especially you, Marianne. I know that you're patiently waiting. We have, what's it, Lola Andrews? Let me see. Okay. So we have two Laurens here. Okay, I think, all right. We have Lola. I'm just going to write the email, a part of the email, so I know what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. So Luna, oh, we have, yeah, I see your name now. It's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah, we have two Laurens. Okay. We have Lauren, Lauren M, and we have a Lauren R. All right. So a Lauren M and a Lauren R. That makes it interesting for me, right? But we'll get there. We will. So we have Marianne, we have Preeti, Lauren R, and Lauren M is first. Lauren M first in the queue, and then Lauren R is next. Thank you so much, everybody, for booking. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marianne. You are very kind. Thank you for understanding. Your chart is literally there for everybody to see. Oh my goodness. But anyway, so I am going to go ahead then and begin your reading, Marianne. And if anybody else jumps in and books, I would say I can take 2 more people and then it will be fully booked. But if that, I know, if that does happen, I will figure it out. Okay. If it happens and I'm in the middle, if anybody does accidentally go into that threshold, I can always still perform the reading offline and then get it to you sent. Okay. Just to let you know. Right. I think we're up to date. And obviously I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for booking. And then for the meanwhile, Preeti, Lauren M, and Lauren R, think about if you have a question or an area you would like me to focus on. Just take some time to think about that. And then when it comes to your turn, then obviously just kind of let me know. And then I'll obviously check to make sure that all of your birth information is done correctly. Right. Marianne, need to focus on you. Thank you very much for your patience. Let's have a look here. Transits, progressions, and so on. Okay. All right, let's begin. Let's begin. And I'm not going to be looking at the chat. And just a reminder, these are mini readings. And if anybody would like a full session with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Let's begin. So, Marianne, what is firstly jumping out at me within your chart is the fact that you have this ascendant with Saturn at the very same degree in Libra. Now, Saturn is considered to be exalted, of course, in the sign of Libra. And what I kind of gauge from this, what I get from this, is just your ability to come across as quite a reasonable individual, as if you sort of approach life through this lens of fairness. But it's not just fairness, it's also clarity with relation to fairness. And it's your ability to sort of provide integrity and to be a source of reason, I would say, or even as a source of authority within social situations, social spaces that you enter into. Now, it could also possibly be here that what you've been used to throughout your life is being a self-sustained individual, right? Someone who can support yourself, support your life. But then again, it could also possibly feel like at times a lot of responsibility, right? A kind of burdensome possibly feeling, maybe especially when you were younger, but maybe now that you're older, maybe you do feel like this part of you is to be appreciated a lot more or sort of seen as a big beneficial thing. Now, having said that, there's Pluto. So Pluto is also nearby. Now, whilst Pluto isn't very strongly connected to Saturn, there's still a bit of a conjunction, I would say. But what this can maybe imply or suggest about you is there's such a depth. There's not a superficiality, I guess, when it comes to you. It's as if to say that whenever you enter into new experiences, and just in terms of how you approach life overall. Maybe it's that you do crave honesty and respect and no fluff, basically, no fluff. Now, the other thing could be that you are used to transformations naturally with Pluto there. Used to transformation after transformation, constantly evolving as a person. Your identity, your sense of self is constantly evolving. And that could also manifest within your relationships quite strongly, right? Because naturally this is happening in the sign of Libra. Now, an interesting thing I'm finding here is the fact that so if we look at the secondary progressed Mercury, it is in Libra and it's retrograde. And what's been happening is that progressed Mercury retrograde is hovering over this ascendant line for you. It's in the first house. So what I'm kind of getting from this is, could it be suggested that you are experiencing a lot of inner thoughts, right? Maybe you are considering, okay, what could the next step be when it comes to a new chapter? Maybe it's that you feel like you're having to constantly reassess things or review maybe relationships or where you stand within relationships. What do they mean to you? What do you get from them? There could just be this maybe inner analysis, this back and forth about partnerships, and maybe you thinking to yourself, was I being reasonable there? Was I being fair there? And so on. We have to think about this more, because whenever we further look at the secondary progressed ascendant and the moon, they are in Scorpio. So maybe it could be a thing where you feel like your identity is changing very strongly, particularly during this stage of your life. Maybe within the context of, it could be family, it could be about career, it could be a case of you questioning your role in this life, your position as maybe a caregiver or as a nurturing figure or as someone of social standing. And if we think about how you've got Cancer there, so you have Cancer in the 10th house, and then you also have the midheaven, and even the chart ruler Venus is in Cancer. So if we think about that part, right, with the chart ruler being there, I am curious about maybe how your public position has strongly involved caring for others, making sure that certain businesses function well, maybe being the source of history within a particular role. Or it could be a thing of you feeling like today that you're having to transform within a particular area of this. And I'm saying this because the North Node is there in the 10th, and then the moon, of course, is the ruler of the midheaven. It's the ruler of the North Node and so on there in the 10th. And with it being in Scorpio, then it could be a thing of maybe you are reconsidering, okay, well, what about your values? What about your skills? What have you learned? Is it a case of your personal assets have really been changing? Is it that certain relationships have maybe been coming to a close for you? And then to further add to this, the relationship side of it especially, we notice that Saturn and Neptune have just entered Aries, right? If we look at the transits. And so those planetary bodies are now joining with the moon in the 7th. And remember, the moon is that ruler point of the midheaven for you. So there's questions, I think, to do with individuality, maybe independence, freedom within relationships. Is it a thing of you renegotiating? Is it a thing of maybe you're ready to aspire towards something else, or there's this ambitious fuel that you're feeling? Is it that you are feeling maybe a call to action, maybe to change something about your local environment or to change your perspective on life? All of this stuff could be coming up for you around this time. And I'm really saying that especially because those planets are then further creating trines to Uranus, and Uranus is in the 3rd house, and even the secondary progress Mars is joining up with Uranus, and then Mars does rule your 2nd house. just what I get from this is, if we think about the sort of cluster of planets here squished in the first and second houses in Libra and Scorpio, I get from this your ability to acquire materials and resources in a way where you can use your skills, you can use your ways of being able to build rapport with others or to negotiate well with others to your benefit. Could be a thing of greater sort of power or self preservation or personal agency, all of these things. And maybe using your wisdom, using your philosophical views as a way to possibly support your lifestyle, right? So, a lot of focus on these sort of aspects, these areas of your life. And then there's a leadership quality here is further, that's further what I'm getting. It's your leadership abilities. You even have the sun and the moon in these fire signs, Leo and Aries, very much leader types in the zodiac, I would say. And then to have those planets in the social houses of the 7th and the 11th, I just wonder about your ability to maybe lead groups or to host classes or to be a facilitator maybe for others, facilitator within groups where people can open up or people can maybe really express themselves and be quite, yeah, to be quite open about how they're feeling or what they might be going through. Um, and then yeah, I would say I'm trying to think about time wise here of how long. Yeah, a couple more minutes here. So the other thing that I would say, if interestingly, it's interesting to see how Mercury's in Virgo. So if we think about this intellectually in terms of how you think and how you communicate, that could be in a way where you aim to be somewhat practical or solution based, to sort of have solutions to problems. Functionality could be important to you, to be quite cohesive or to be efficient in your ways of delivery, and maybe doing that within an area that's quite self-contained or an area that's sort of hidden or out of the public view. But then what's quite interesting to note about that is the second I progress midheaven is there with Mercury. It's kind of on top of Mercury. So then what I go to is it a case of right now what you're undergoing here, Marianne, is maybe this type of shift in terms of analysis, in terms of what your position is, what your public role is. Is it a thing of you're looking for a more intimate setting, or you're maybe aiming to prioritize more thoughtful and deep conversations with others? Could even be a case of you speaking up for your health. I mean, health things could be coming up to the surface here, especially if we think about how eclipses have been happening in the 12th, 6th house axis for you for the past, I would say, couple of years or so. But yeah, Marianne, I'm going to stop it there. I have to. I could continue, but these are mini readings. But I do hope I hope that was beneficial, naturally. And yeah, so let's see. Thank you very much, Marianne. And then let me have a look here. Preeti, sorry, Preeti, not pretty, Preeti. Let's have a look. You're based Netherlands. Settle here, good, juicy. Relocation. Okay, let me just grab your info first, and then we will go from there. And then I want to say thank you so much to Marianne for booking. Preeti, let's see. Let's have a look at yours. Want to make sure that I have all of your information here. What did you say here? Oh no. Provider and a caregiver. Wow. Well, Marianne, that is a very sensitive subject indeed, and I am so sorry to hear, of course, about your children's father. That's a hard thing. So indeed, this is where you're at right now. Just a lot of change. It sounds like a lot of change. Okay, so I'm assuming for you, Preeti, is it March time you were born then? Is it the March time? I think it's because I'm trying to think of what way you do it in terms of the date and the month. I'm assuming it's March, but correct me if I got that wrong. Um, I think it's that one, yeah. Okay, yeah, no problem. Thank you for confirming that. Okay. So, yes, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Let's see. And then read your comment in just a moment. Okay, here. And I just want to say as well to Marianne, I wish you all the best and thank you so, so much for booking. And I think I remember you saying that you're also an astrologer. I'm pretty sure it was you that said that. So yeah, I even just wish you all the best within your practice and everything. Right. So Preeti, let's have a look. Let me grab this. Let me see. So Netherlands, citizenship, relocation, HR for IT. You're a stay-at-home mother. What does your career look like over the next 3 to 4 years? All change for the best despite kids. Oh, oh, yeah. Wow. Wow, that's powerful. That really is powerful. How amazing to kind of pass on that sort of depth to your own children, Marianne. Okay, so 3 to 4 years, Preeti. 3 to 4 years, and then if I grab this, go here, go here, go here, 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 and then grab this section from here, here. Okay, let's have a look. Netherlands. Excusez-moi. Netherlands. Okay, interesting. Right. Let's see. Give me a moment then, please, Preeti. Oh, thank you so much, Marianne, for your support. Okay, Preeti, let's have a look. Let's have a look at your chart. Give me a moment, please, so I can just kind of take everything in and see what connections I find. Just kind of looking at a couple of things at once. So, let's see. Libra, Venus, Pluto. Ah. So 3 to 4 years. Jupiter. Where's Jupiter? Okay. That'd be Jupiter 2026, 2027. Okay. Right, let's begin then. Of course, just a quick reminder here to you, Preeti, that there's only so much I can put into a 10-minute reading. I hope you understand it's a mini reading. But yeah, just to let you know that, because that would be covering, a lot of ground, but I'm going to try my very best to sort of break this down and offer you some type of guidance based on what your chart says, okay? Just to let you know. Right. So, something I find pretty interesting actually here. Let me just take note of this. Something I find pretty interesting is the fact that what's quite close to the Netherlands, if we think about, planetary lines and everything, if we consider the relocation, astrocartography, all of that, is that the Pluto ascendant line is pretty close by. Now, why do I find this important? Because if we look to your chart, we notice that yes, you've got Pluto in the 10th house in Scorpio. We'll get back to that. We'll touch on that. But more importantly, you've got the transit of Pluto that is pretty much there, conjunct the ascendant and the ruler of your 9th house. Now, the 9th house is about long distance travel. This is where we can find the likes of relocation. And even if somebody wants to relocate, or if they do relocate, or what that experience is like, okay? So that's very much 9th house territory. And then Venus is in Aquarius with the North Node, and then the ascendant is in Aquarius, and then Pluto is there. So if we kind of think about this, the bigger picture of this, we are seeing then this type of change, like a notable, significant change or shift with relation to your identity, with relation especially to this like relocation, citizenship, changes, things like that. This then is where we're noticing the identity changes. And it could also be a thing of community. It could be a thing of, yes, okay, well, where do you feel is the most safe, the most comfortable for you? Is it a thing of you have worked really hard to get to this point? Could it be a thing of you physically feel like a whole different person in this particular area, right? In this country? Are you possibly eager to want to maybe learn new things about this sort of culture, this new way of life? Or could it be a thing of you want to start educating yourself in a particular area, a new subject? That could be a possibility, right? With courses and programs, if we consider the 9th house through a lens of education and just furthering yourself, really, educating yourself. Now, like I said, Pluto is there in the 10th house. And what's interesting about that, I think, is, well, if we consider the 10th house, right? The 10th house can be about your social status, your reputation. It could be about the sort of role that you play within society. And with Pluto there, this could be a case of where you're at, very much transforming this part of you. Or it could be a case of what you're quite used to throughout your life is the ability to transform and adapt to these new identities. And it could further highlight your desire to want to be an authority in some capacity. That's further what I'm getting. Because here's the thing. I have to say this. The traditional ruler of the midheaven is Mars. And it's in Capricorn. And Saturn's also in Capricorn. And they're quite close together. So, and then also Mars is conjunct the ascendant. So what I get from this is your desire possibly to want to be an authority, a leader, to be a driven, consistent, stable force, and to maybe even perform a lot of your work behind the scenes. And what I mean by this is just out of the public eye, where you are maybe performing certain roles or tasks where in which you're helping society, you're helping the collective, especially with the Aquarius Capricorn combination here. Then we throw in your Pisces planets too into that, right? You're helping the collective, but you're doing it in a way where you're wanting to be respected for your role, yes, but you're also able to take on jobs maybe that not a lot of people are willing to do, right? It's almost like you're willing to get your hands dirty, so to speak, or you're ready, you're willing to kind of get into the trenches to sort of do the hard things in order to really reap the rewards so that you can see a positive maybe impact for other people, you can see collective changes and so on. Then there's more to this, right? You wanted to know sort of more about this, I guess, career trajectory, all of that. This is where I want to bring in how you have the sun and Mercury in Pisces, and then you've got the moon there in Virgo, right? So you've got this axis very much activated, and eclipses have been happening along this axis. So, what this can maybe imply is that you've been noticing significant shifts with relation to your resources, your money, maybe trying to pay off certain debts or trying to maybe get yourself to a certain social standing so that you can maybe afford certain things, you can afford to look after your family and provide and all of that. And then the other thing to add into this is the fact that Jupiter is in the sixth house and Jupiter's been transiting the sixth. So a lot of work responsibilities, work priorities, and honestly, given how Jupiter's been opposing that Capricorn stuff, I am curious about maybe certain cutbacks that you've had to make. Is it a case of you've been having to really minimize your spending? Is it a thing of you're trying to get things in order first before you feel like you're really steady to kind of continue on? And that could even speak to the whole process about, you're saying about citizenship and all the things that you're sort of waiting on. Okay. Now, what will eventually happen is Jupiter's going to move into Leo. That's going to happen the summertime of 2026 for about a year. And then after that process, Jupiter will move into Virgo. So if we think about the trajectory over the next couple of years, with that mixed in with how eclipses are going to happen in your first and seventh houses, we kind of look at this all together. I am wondering about significant excuse me, changes that could happen when it comes to your social life, when it comes to the business side of things or the working side of things, working relationships, partnerships. It could be a thing of you getting things in greater order or feeling like there is some type of movement because of your ability to sort of put one foot in front of the other. Your nodal return is going to be coming up in the next couple of years or so, right? Because you've got the North Node in Aquarius. So with that, maybe it could be a thing of your identity and your outer world, your role here could change in a way where you feel like, okay, there is greater order. There is some type of consistency. There is a routine in place. And the reason for why I'm further saying that is because if we think about how eclipses will happen in Aquarius and Leo, remember the ruler of your ninth house, which rules long distance travel and everything, that is in Aquarius and it's going to be a part of that process. So that's where I'm kind of going to with that. I see this as significant changes to do with those areas. Now, let's also think about other parts of this because there's more to this. We have to think about how Saturn and Neptune are now transiting the third. And the third house is more about your local area. And if we do think about this in terms of where you are now, well, Saturn rules your, let me see here. Yeah, Saturn is one of your chart rulers. Yeah, it's one of your chart rulers. So I am curious then about maybe a type of independence here, or it could be a thing of you advocating for yourself, right? Advocating for your identity in terms of where you are locally, in terms of maybe certain freedoms that you're seeking or certain changes that you want to make within your local environment. Even I would say here that with Venus, which is in the opposite sign, right? Venus is transiting Aries for the next, I'd say another week or two or something like that. Maybe right now, so if we're speaking about this currently, it could feel a bit like, oh, when is this going to move? When is this going to change? There could be a sense of impatience, right? But I just think that if we if there's one thing that astrology reminds us of, is that time is always changing. There's always these events that are unfolding. And I just think if we look at the trajectory over the next few years for you, there could be these significant shifts in terms of, okay, your very identity. And that could be a significant thing, especially within the context of your career position, in terms of new roles, or in terms of what your maybe goals are, maybe new goals that you're seeking, or new things that you're wanting to achieve. Then the other thing I want to highlight here is Mars retrograde will happen toward the end of 2026. And it's going to happen in Virgo, well, partly Leo and Virgo. So to have that Mars retrograde activating both the 7th and 8th houses, so this is toward the end of 2026, 2026, 2027, something like that, then that could be a time of you just making sure that things are on maybe the right track for you, in terms of, okay, well, the third house stuff, right? Maybe there is a certain leadership role that you're seeking in terms of communication or writing or teaching. Speaking of teaching, even Uranus is going to move into Gemini, and that's going to transit your 5th house. So maybe that could be a thing of greater versatility, or just being a bit more open to change or flexible, or seeking something new there. Especially within the context maybe of wanting some time off, or wanting to make sure that you're able to have, get a role where it encompasses, yes, the working side of things, but it's also your ability to be there for your children, right? If we think about that flexibility, that versatility with Gemini, yeah, there could be some changes there that maybe you tap into, or that you make the most of. Then the last thing I'm going to say is, remember, Mars rules your 10th house. This is the thing. So we bring it back to the Mars retrograde that's going to happen toward the end of the year, coming into 2027. And that's including shadow periods, by the way. But anyway, that one then could be a case of you considering, okay, well, what about leadership roles? Maybe that's the thing with the midheaven in Scorpio, with Mars, the ruler of the midheaven in Capricorn. It could be a thing of you aim to get into roles or professions where you feel like you can be an authority. You can work your way up, or where you feel like there's enough freedom as well, where you're not constantly being sort of watched over. I have to stop it there because I have went over time. Sorry. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I have to stop it there. Sorry, Preeti. I should, yeah, anyway, I will come out of that. I went over, but anyway, I hope that was helpful. I hope it didn't sound too rambly, honestly. I really hope not. But let's see. So, boom, 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 boom. Yes, Preeti, I hope that was helpful. Excuse me, so sorry. And hello, Danielle, welcome. I hope you are doing good, and thank you so much for joining. Hope your week is going well so far. Rightio, let's stop there. I feel like I tried to cram a lot into that, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to remind myself it's okay. I hope it was helpful. So, Lauren M, let's grab your info. Your Pluto line. Wow, whoa. Interesting. Wow, Preeti, that's really interesting. Oh, you enjoyed it. Good. I'm glad. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. Rightio. So, Lauren, let's have a look. So this is for Lauren M. Oh no, it's that one. Oh. There it is. Right. Let's see. Oh, and to answer your question, Marianne, yeah, so with the podcast, I have taken a bit of a break. I've just been trying to evaluate how often I want to post and things like that. Yeah, I want to continue with the podcast, but I have just taken a bit of a break. I feel like I've just needed to rediscover my inspiration with it. Yeah, it's just been a bit of a busy new year, But thank you so much for asking about it. It's something that I would like to get back onto again. And okay, so for Lauren R, transits and progressions, no problem. I'm going to put that beside yours. And so for Lauren M, if you are there, let me see, have you said anything? Feeling stuck? What is the next step? Mental health, advocating for yourself. Okay, let's have a look. Next step. Thank you both so much for sending in your info. And please give me a moment, Lauren, whilst I just pull up your chart, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay, let's have a look. Mm-hmm. Sun, Moon, Mercury retrograde. Health. Right, let's begin. Oh, wow, Marianne, amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do sometimes go back and forth over the video. Do I want to do video podcast or just keep it audio? I feel like with audio, I just kind of go more freely. But anyway, thanks so much for listening along and everything. Right, so Lauren, let's dive into this. Let's really even think about your progressions because I just find it quite interesting, just your choice of words and where you're at right now. So the first thing I'm going to mention is if we look at your sixth house. So the sixth house naturally can be about daily routines and habits, of course, the everyday stuff, the things that you sort of have to do that maybe you don't want to do, but right, it's important to do them. Now, you have Mars retrograde there in Cancer as well as the moon. And what this suggests to me is that perhaps you are much more, I guess, feelings based or protective based, so to speak, when it comes to those very areas of routine and habits. Maybe for you, the certain routine or habit has to make sense, especially physically, emotionally. There could be some days where you're in the mood, but just other days where you're like, no, I can't do this. I'm really not in the mood. I'm really not feeling it. And then what's also further a part of this is yes, so Mars retrograde, if we think about how the secondary progress Mars is now direct, maybe for you over the years, right, you've possibly been able to get yourself to a point where you've maybe asserted yourself more outwardly, you've been a bit more outwardly directed, and possibly you've even, I would say, surprised yourself with your sense of will, right? Your drive and your willpower, especially because Uranus is making a bit of a trine to Mars retrograde, and Uranus is in Scorpio. So I think about independence, right? Needing your independence, needing your sort of freedom when it comes to things that might require a bit more sort of effort in terms of being professional, or maybe in terms of a certain possible career path for you. Maybe for you, it's like career path, right? Whatever. It could feel like that for you. It could be a thing where you're big on your own personal truth and not putting up with certain behaviors or maybe toxic dynamics within the workforce, right? That could be something that you've been strong, you've said strongly, no, we're not doing this. Now, the other thing then is I think about the amount of depth that you have. It's your depth in research, it's your depth of understanding. Maybe it is a case of leadership could be important to you, but it's leadership in terms of maybe educating others, sharing knowledge, information that could be more important than maybe, for example, making loads of money or whatever it is, right? And then the other thing is we notice how when we look to the secondary progressions, the secondary progress Mercury is retrograde and it is making, I would say, a bit of a square to Mars retrograde. Then you also have the secondary progress Sun and Moon in Aries. So this explains a lot, I think, in terms of advocating for yourself. Okay, in terms of being able to speak up, being able to call certain behaviors out, and living from a place of self respect. And what's further coming in here is Saturn and Neptune have just entered Aries and they're going to transit your third house for the next while. Saturn for about 2 years, Neptune for about 14 years. But what I'm kind of getting from this is it's almost like a new version of you is being birthed when it comes to communication, especially when we consider things like, okay, well, how is it that you're maybe teaching others? What is it about the impact of your words? That could be a big thing here. The impact of your words, especially within an employment role. And then what's also coming in here is if we look to the South Node, the South Node is coming towards Aquarius, or sorry, my apologies, Leo. It's going to enter Leo the summertime of 2026 for about 18 months. And then the North Node will move into Aquarius. Right. The nodal shifts are going to activate this Sun Saturn opposition. And maybe this is a thing where at times you find there to be conflict between you and members of authority, especially if those members of authority are pompous, egotistical, if they're all about themselves and they don't take responsibility for their actions. That could be a big thing that really, really ticks you off. So, what I'm kind of visualizing for you is maybe what you decide to use this influence for or to tap into over the next few years is that of really, well, being quite the Aquarius. I would say, I was going to say rebel there, but then I'm more just thinking about the Aquarius intellectual honesty and integrity. And maybe that is where you could notice significant shifts happen in your life within relationships. Maybe it could be a thing where you're ready to step into a new role or a new path, especially in terms of your own identity. Maybe that's already what you're feeling quite strongly right now in terms of your own identity because Pluto has been transiting your first house. Now, there are other layers to this, right? There's more to be said about this because we further see that the secondary progress midheaven is in Capricorn, and then the transit of Saturn is going to move through Aries. So I'm wondering here, could it be a case of you undergoing this process right now of, okay, well, what does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to be a leader of integrity? Is it a thing of you are not going to sacrifice your standards for others, especially if you strongly, heavily disagree with others? And then what I also go to is how you've already experienced your Uranus opposition. And that was more so strongly felt over the past few years. Yeah, there's something here, I think, about you being unshakable and immovable when it comes to, yeah, your value system. And what's also up ahead is your Chiron return is coming. It's just around the corner. I would say, yes, it's not going to be felt more strongly until 2027, 2028, whatever it is there. But 2026 is still, we're going to see glimpses here possibly of what? Glimpses of you looking within yourself and identifying, okay, well, in which ways have I shamed myself for what I value? Is it a thing of you just have certain standards with relation to your value, and it's more so that maybe the outside world has tried to say that it's wrong or that you shouldn't feel that way, or maybe you're being too stubborn, or uh, maybe it's that you don't know how to let things go, right? These could be the types of messages that you've sort of taken on. But your Chiron return could possibly be a time of you actually turning around and saying, actually, no, I like who I am. I value my self-worth. I am not going to base my self-worth on status and base it on my achievements or my accomplishments. I mean, you are able to, I think for you, you're able to go beyond those types of things in a way and maybe transcend them in a way. And throughout the process, it's almost like you can act as a guide or as a mentor to others who do base their self-worth on their achievements all the time, just to their detriment. And that could even be where you come in as this pretty solid voice of reason. I mean, you've even got Mercury conjunct the ascendant in Aquarius. So if we think about how you communicate and, you know, how you speak to other people, I sort of see this as you being able to look at the bird's eye view of a system and to say it like it is, to see, okay, well, this is how the system operates, and this is the way this organization is getting on. This is the way they're behaving. And it's almost as if to say that you can be that voice, right? The voice for maybe victims or people who have lost loved ones or people who just need help, right? Whatever it is, you coming in and maybe being that sort of guide, possibly within a legal area. That could be a thing. Maybe you have already went down the whole law route, the legal route with Pluto and the North Node in Libra, and maybe you've seen certain things that you prefer to not have seen, right? That's just a pure speculation, but yeah, I just wanted to add that at the end. There's more I could say, but I have to stop. I do have to stop. And yeah, so I hope that was helpful, and I hope I was able to kind of help in a way. And to me, what I was felt like I was being called to do what there was to sort of validate more your experience, if anything, especially if it is that you're feeling maybe a bit worn out or a bit stuck right now. But anyway, Lauren M, thank you so much. And Shifting Lotus, hello, welcome to you. Excuse me. You were thinking of booking. Nice. Well, just to let you know, there is a sale on. So if you do want to book, there is a sale on if you're interested in booking a reading. And woo, okay. Let me have a look here. I'm just reading. Reduced to the 9th degree. Yeah, exactly. I so agree, Marianne. I so agree. It's almost like you have to be everything when it comes to content creation today, isn't it? It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, Lauren R. Let's see. Let's have a look. See if we have your info. Oh. Oh, it's that one. Can you book for a solar return chart for your career? So should you provide the details? Let me think about this question for a moment. Yes, you can. So basically, with solar return chart readings, we can explore that, yes. But then also you can ask questions, right? So if you have a question maybe about a career area or something like that, you can do that during that reading. To provide the details. And you can do that too. Yeah. So you can, of course, you'd have to let me know your birth information. And then also, if you want to provide the details of the actual start date, because then we could even look at the chart of that and see what that could be like. Yeah, there's so many layers to it. But basically, in a nutshell, yeah, you can book a solar return reading and then provide all of the information you want to give me in an email. Okay. Thank you so much, Shifting Lotus. Right. So, Lauren, let's see. That's right. Yeah. Quite a few Aquarius risings today. Quite a few. And to Lauren M, I'm so glad to hear it. I'm so glad. And yes, so basically this video will be kept up for you to be able to come back and watch, listen at a later point. Yeah. Business use with the right lead. Definitely. Definitely, Marianne. I agree. I so agree. You know what? I've been thinking about all of this recently. I find out, right? I find out that, oh, and by the way, Lauren R, I'm currently loading your chart just to let you know. I haven't forgotten about you. Yeah, so I found out that apparently the more people that somebody follows on social media, right? So the more people that somebody follows on Instagram, let's go with Instagram, apparently they are less likely to like individual posts because they can get decision paralysis, or there's so many options, there's just too much, they get overwhelmed. And then what often happens with follower counts on Instagram is, let's say a post goes viral, right? It goes viral, it's very popular, and that creator gets a lot of new follows. What often can happen is, even though they get so many follows, if those followers do not continue to like the next 3 posts by that creator, what can often happen is the creator's posts do not get pushed to those new followers anymore. Because what happens is, I think Instagram only pulls from a select few, so a certain percentage of the follower count, and then shows that creator's content to them. And if they don't engage with it, then it just kind of sits there and it doesn't get pushed to other followers. So it just kind of seems a bit, I guess it seems in a way a bit pointless as to why, if I was to follow somebody and then I wasn't to see their posts again, it's like, would I have to go onto their page and do it myself? I don't know. But it's strange. Even on YouTube, things have changed. Excuse me, things have changed massively, the way the algorithms work and stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. Lauren, we are going to explore your chart. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. That is such a good point, Marianne. Uh-huh. That's so true. Because it doesn't, I guess, then it doesn't necessarily represent then what they're selling. Yeah, that's so true. But anyway, right. Let's see. Oh, I don't have any more water left. It's okay. It's okay. We'll make it work. So, Lauren, let's see here. Transits and progressions you would like to know about. Rightio. And quickly, one more time to Lauren M. Thank you very much, Lauren M, for booking. And then Lauren R, let's focus on you. Give me a moment, please. Progressions. All right. Okay. Okay, let's begin. For you, Lauren. Let's begin. Right. The first thing that is jumping out at me about your chart is to do with how the midheaven is in Sagittarius, and it's in the 11th house here. So what this suggests to me here, Lauren, is that you may find a lot of purpose, a lot of meaning in possibly teaching or sharing information with the world, or maybe within social spaces, groups, clubs, organizations, or in which there's just a high volume of information being distributed. That could be a big part of it. Maybe I'm thinking even about journalism or marketing or research or team building, those kinds of areas. Even the North Node is there in Sagittarius in the 11th house too. So what this suggests to me further is that this stuff could possibly feel like it's could be a part of your destiny, or could feel that way, right? Could just feel like, whoa, I was always meant to do this. It could be a thing of teaching, honestly. But then we also want to locate Jupiter. Yeah. We want to locate Jupiter because naturally Jupiter is the ruler of the midheaven. It's the ruler of your 11th house. So Jupiter's in Virgo, and it's also there with the sun, and it's there with Mercury. And Mercury, of course, is exalted. It's home in Virgo, all in the 8th house. So where I go to here is, could it be a thing of you finding a lot of meaning and purpose in, it could be a case of organizing other people's income. It could be helping people who are in debt. It could be a thing of providing health solutions or health answers to people who maybe are struggling with finances. That could be a possibility. Or it could be a thing of you offering your practical insights as you do share information, right? As you do offer deep knowledge or wisdom or research. There's more to this naturally because the secondary progressed Mercury, and remember, Mercury is the dispositor of these Virgo planets. The secondary progressed Mercury is in Scorpio, and it's quite close to Pluto. Where I'm going to here is, could it be a thing of you feeling more of a higher calling to want to maybe learn about the occult, to learn about hidden knowledge, to possibly pass on information that's rather taboo with your audience or with the collective? Maybe a lot of research has been happening on your behalf, and there's a lot of passion being put into this, right? A lot of drive, a lot of intensity, a lot of depth. My goodness, so much depth. Then the other thing is the secondary progressed Jupiter is in Libra, and the secondary progressed Sun is also in Libra, interestingly. So, and also you've got Venus already in the 9th house. I'm then going to partly hear such an interest in furthering yourself, right? Furthering yourself in terms of your intellect, in terms of maybe building rapport with others, interesting sort of new clubs or groups that you've really wanted to join over the past number of years. Maybe a lot of interesting things have been happening there within those areas. It could also be a thing of you are bringing your skills, of efficiency and order and routine to others in a more, I guess, a teaching context. A teaching setting. I just feel a bit like there's a lot here to do with sharing and connecting and doing it in a way where you act as a peer, right? You're acting as a peer to others, and you're doing it in a rather fair way where no one is sort of above the other. But then the other thing about it is this stuff could genuinely interest you. This is the other thing I'm getting, because the moon is in Gemini, right? And maybe for you, what fuels you, what really makes you feel good and nurtured and cared for, it's your ability to pass on information in ways that are fun or witty. And there is maybe a teaching element, but this stuff maybe has also been met with you pushing yourself slightly outside of your comfort zone. So sort of coming from this South Node area of doing things in a more creative, individual way, but then having the confidence in yourself to want to maybe engage with wider audiences, or to take on public speaking, or to host certain courses or classes. Hey, that could be something that really does excite you. It's your ability to structure a curriculum, or to structure a course in a way where people feel like they're a part of something, or they feel like you are engaged with them. I even get from this maybe tutoring or mentoring, especially on a one-on-one level, just a possibility. But here's the other thing. You do have this is interesting. You do have the ascendant in Aquarius. Saturn's also there in Aquarius. It's home in the Mercury decan, by the way. There's a reason for why I said that. We'll come back to it in a second. Then you also have this grand, it's a bit of a grand air triangle going on between the ascendant in Aquarius, Venus in Libra, and the South Node in Gemini. So when we mix it all together, there's something to me about building systems that work for the collective, systems that help the world function well, where there is a sense of betterment and improvement, and there is a feeling of teamwork, right? I get from this just your ability to go into a team setting and to make certain long-term moves or decisions in ways where you're being professional, you're being quite level-headed, but then you're also considering others, right? I think that with Venus in Libra Venus in Libra in the ninth house, there's something about your ability to communicate with others in a way where they feel like they're seen, they feel valued. And then the other thing is you've got Mars in Cancer in the sixth house. So this also adds a layer, I think, of empathy, and then being a leader who is emotionally sort of in tune with people, right? Where you might be able to understand why certain employees or coworkers aren't in the mood, or why they could be feeling a certain way. And then you might be pretty much tuned in with them, is what I'm trying to get at. Then it could also be a thing of you taking on a bit of a caring position or a caring role. That could be a slight part of it. Then I also want to blend in with this something else, and it is to do with how Chiron is opposing the ascendant. So we're going to just explain this part to sort of finish off here. But with Chiron opposing the ascendant in Leo, where I go to here is it's your ability to see the capabilities, to see the talents in other people. That could be something that's a part of your unique skill set, right? So to be able to see, okay, well, a certain person, maybe they are good at a particular thing, whatever that is, right? And then you can bring it out of them. Then what I go to is further into that of the mentorship stuff. I even go into possibly employment, employing people, hiring people there. That could be an area. But overall, without this sort of, I guess, professional side of it to the side, right? So with that stuff to the side, I just get from you, it's your depth of knowledge, it's your depth of understanding and inner knowing. And then it's equally about how you apply that stuff. It's how you're practical with that. It's not just about seeing other people or even feeling into the experience. It's equally about, okay, well, what can you actually do to bring out the skills of other people? And hey, you know what? Maybe it's been through your relationships that you've learned so much about yourself, about your inner child, about things that maybe you've been denying throughout your life. It's maybe even been through working with children, or connecting with children, or connecting with other people's inner child, that's been so massive for your own knowledge. Yeah. Last thing I'm going to say actually is the secondary progressed moon is in Virgo there. And so Indeed, that could be a thing where what is really up ahead for you is a lot of like in understanding about how you do the things you do or how you operate, a type of I would want to say cleaning up, but I just mean more in terms of what's no longer working for you or what's maybe not very helpful for you. A type of purge is what I sort of get. You maybe going through this type of purge, especially health wise, and then that can even be beneficial for you in the long run. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. So we were actually okay. Yeah. So that's everyone. I think I'm going to stop it here. I do have somebody else who has booked, which I'm going to do their reading off camera and then get it sent to them. But I think that is us for today. And I do want to say to Marianne, Preeti, Lauren M, and Lauren R, thank you all so much for booking today. I really do appreciate you joining, and I just hope as well that the readings were helpful. And I understand that there is only so much I can talk about in 10 minutes. Yeah, there's only so much I can say. And of course, to everybody, if you are interested in booking a full reading with myself, you can do so by going to hannahselsewhere.com. Thank you, Marianne. Yeah, I'm going to go and get some more water. I'm going to get some tea, and then I'll jump into this other reading that I have afterwards. Let me just say that I'm fully booked here, so there's no confusion. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Lovely. Yeah. I hope everybody that you enjoyed your reading, and I hope to Lauren R, you were able to catch your reading. If you're no longer there, of course, this video will be kept up, so then you'll be able to rewatch at a later point. So it's all there for you. And to everybody else, yes, your reading will be kept up. Anyways, I am going to get going, and thank you very, very much. You're going to send me an email soon. Amazing, Shift and Lotus. We'll get that all organized and set up. Amazing. Radio, I'm gonna get going now. And hey, happy new moon and Pisces, everybody. I hope that it serves you well. I will talk to you later.